To prepare, it was reported that Heath locked himself in a London hotel room for a month and experimented with different voices and physical characterizations. Whatever he did in there, it worked.
It's just been stupid amounts of fun, and you know, he's dark, you know, very nasty. He's a psychopath, sociopath, mass murdering clown, and it's really coming together. And the movie looks amazing. It's a lot darker than the first one, and I think a lot bigger too.
Heath also derived great inspiration from his fellow cast members. As the Joker, Heath had the opportunity to work with screen legends like Gary Oldman and Sir Michael Caine.
I don't know, phenomenal. Like working with Gary Oldman, and you know, it was a dream for me. And Michael Caine and Christian Bale, who even in a bat suit manages to, you know, give these amazing performances. And of course Maggie Gyllenhaal and Aaron Eckhart and Morgan Freeman, and you know, it's just stupid. It's an incredible cast, and I think you'll. I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised. So I'd say you probably will be too.
As proud as he was of The Dark Knight, sadly, Heath would never see the film's official premiere, or the phenomenal box office success it went on to enjoy. Heathcliff Andrew Ledger passed away on Tuesday, January the 22nd, 2008, at his Manhattan apartment. The story was repeated countless times in the weeks following his death. A masseuse arrived for a scheduled appointment. Heath's housekeeper went to tell the actor of her arrival, but found him face down at the foot of his bed, naked and unconscious. As the news spread, the world was filled with shock and disbelief. Even those who did not know Heath were affected by the devastating news of the young star's tragic passing. It wasn't long before rumours of suicide began to circulate. Whether or not Heath's recent split from Michelle Williams had taken its toll, he had been complaining of insomnia due to the stress of work, causing him to take sleeping medication. It was said pills were found strewn about the room. As it turned out, there were pills, but nothing especially suspicious was discovered at the scene.
The medical examiners said today there was no criminality. Of course, we have to wait for the toxicology report. That could be as long as 10 days. There was some issue about a $20 bill that was found. There was a rolled-up $20 bill found. No testing of that bill has been done as yet.
No suicide note was found, and it was reported that Heath had been his usual professional self only the Saturday before, while filming The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus in London, a fantasy adventure film that reunited him with his Brothers Grimm director Terry Gilliam. It seemed that suicide was very unlikely.
We, Heath's family, confirmed the very tragic, untimely and accidental passing of our dearly loved son, brother and doting father of Matilda. He was found peacefully asleep in his New York apartment by his housekeeper at 3:30 US time, 3:30 p.m. US time. We would like to thank our friends and everyone around the world for their well wishes and kind thoughts at this time.
Once autopsy results were revealed, it was clear that Heath's death had been a tragic accident after all, and illegal drugs were not a factor. According to the New York City Medical Examiner, Heath Ledger died of an accidental overdose of painkillers, sleeping pills, anti-anxiety medication, and other prescription drugs.
It's terribly sad, and I'm still stunned by it and still get chills when I talk about it. On the other hand, I think it's important to talk about it. I think it's important to honor Heath.
The dark and gothic fantasy that is The Dark Knight would stand as a tribute to Heath and his commitment to his work. His chilling performance as the Joker was universally proclaimed truly remarkable, undoubtedly contributing to the film's worldwide box office take of almost $1 billion.
It seemed to me to be very important that the performance that Heath had given us get out there and be seen the way that he wanted it to be seen and the way he would have intended it to be seen. And what's very important to me is that I'm seeing audiences react to the character the way Heath wanted them to react to the character, and I think he'd be very proud of that.
Like his fellow Dark Knight cast and crew, Heath's Hollywood contemporaries were deeply saddened by the loss of one of their most gifted colleagues. Actors who had never worked with Heath but admired his craft offered moving tributes to the fallen star.
Well, my heart goes out to his family and this kid. He's got a little kid. I don't know. You know, people have demons. Sometimes it's hard to see them.
As Heath's performance as the Joker was becoming the stuff of Hollywood legend, talk of a posthumous Oscar nomination began to spread, with his co-stars leading the charge.
I haven't seen a villain like this, or a bad guy like this, since Dennis Hopper played Frank Booth in Blue Velvet. You remember that scary performance? I mean, that's kind of what it like. This outscares Hannibal Lecter.
You vote for him then, come award season?
I bet.
Would you vote for him come award season?
Oh, I've single-handedly started a campaign, I tell you. Yeah, I think there's a posthumous Oscar for Heath, and he's got every chance of maybe winning it first, you know, since Peter Finch.
Heath's death was a devastating blow to his family and friends. Oscars and Tinseltown tributes aside, to those close to him, he was simply Heathy, a down-to-earth guy who loved to surf and play chess, a loving father and a beloved son.
Heath has touched so many people on so many different levels during his short life, but few had the pleasure of truly knowing him. He was a down-to-earth, generous, kind-hearted, life-loving, unselfish individual who was extremely inspirational to many. Please now respect our family's need to grieve and come to terms with our loss privately. Thank you.
After a memorial service at Penrose College in Perth, with a eulogy read by his friend and I'm Not There co-star Kate Blanchett, Heath was cremated on February 9 at Fremantle Cemetery. As the sun went down, the mourners swam in the ocean at Cottesloe Beach, one of Heath's favourite hangouts. As well as the films he bequeaths us, Heath can be remembered through this portrait, painted by his friend, Australian artist Vincent Fantauzo, shortly before his death. Entered into the Archibald Prize for Portraiture in 2008, the work was voted most popular painting in the competition.
He's been a friend of mine for 5 or so years, and I've been kind of trying to convince Heath to sit for a portrait for a while. And this year he felt comfortable enough with himself, and he rang me up and asked if I want to do it now, so I quickly jumped on it and flew down to Perth where he was staying, and that's where we did our sittings.
The portrait depicts Heath as a worldly, mature man, wise beyond his 28 years, but a man who is in constant dialogue with his own imagination and sometimes contradictory impulses.
He had to always keep a lot inside, so here he kind of just opened up and said, "Here I am," and I guess the voices are him telling himself what to show and what not to show, and what to say and what to keep to himself.
Despite receiving numerous offers for the painting, Vincent has elected to give the portrait to Heath's mother, Sally.
The last thing he said to me was he knew I was kind of nervous about doing it and getting it done, and I really wanted to get in, and he said, "Don't worry, you'll get in and you'll win," and he winked at me, and he was almost spot on, so I think he'd have a good laugh.